Yeah, so much fun. Make sure. Oh yeah, we got people waiting for us. Sure, I don't think I have this muted, so yeah.
That's the trick.
I know. Well, I normally always keep it muted on here, but anyway. Well, hello, friends. Welcome to another group therapy tonight hosted on the Book Refuge. Hi, if you're here because you're following group therapy but haven't been to my channel before, welcome. And we have a wonderful panel of friends tonight. We'll give people some time to be hopping on, but then we'll start with saying what we're reading. So as the people watching, as you hop in, say what you're reading, and I'll get to those comments once we start going through it. But we will go around. I think we have a newbie tonight, right? We'll let you go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you're reading, girl?
Okay. My name's Victoria. My channel is under Victoria's Spell, and I'm reading Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. It's so good so far.
I've heard good things about that one.
It's really good.
That is literally on the top of my TBR. Like, just like where Stormy was. Everybody's reading it. I'm like, I want it. I want it.
That's next. I cannot wait to read that.
Yeah.
So good, my heart. I am Bree. My channel is In Love and Words. I have to edit a video, so that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. But what am I reading? Oh, I am buddy reading Pansies by Alexis Hall with Steph from Novelty Corner.
Are you liking it? I want to get
so I actually had no idea what it was about going into it. So I was completely thrown off guard in the beginning of it, but I am 100% into it. It's like childhood bullies to lovers. It's queer romance. So he the main hero in it bullied the other hero when they were in high school, and then they see each other again years later, and he doesn't recognize him, but the other guy does. So it's a lot of tension, but then it's Alexis Hall. So there's a lot of intense things happening in it, but it's Alexis Hall. So there's humor and stuff. Oh, he's just so great. I just love him.
Is that part of Glitterland?
I think so. I think the Spires series, I think. Yeah. But I don't know how any of them are interconnected, because I've read them For Real. And
I don't think they are either, because way back, of course, when I read For Real, I was like, this is book 3 in a series, but I read that one first. And then I tried the other ones, and because someone gets mentioned in one in a really really vaguely. I think one of Lori's friends gets mentioned, but they're not in it. And then I just didn't continue, because I was like, oh, I wanted those people, at the time.
Right, you wanted certain stories.
His friend group, because I fell in love with them.
That's one thing with Alexis Hall. All of his the periphery characters are amazing, and you want all of their stories every single time in every single book. All of the side characters are great.
He's so good at that, balancing just trauma and hilarity.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But without making light of anything either. He addresses things, but he's just so good.
But since those are getting reprinted, I might have to.
I gotta read it. It's hilarity as a means of survival. It's
right.
I love it. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm reading Craving Dravka by Zoe Draven. It is the third in her alien sex worker series, where they have been displaced due to war, and now they're being exploited in this brothel. And it's the third book, so one of our heroes has had a dalliance with one of his clients, and they're still trying to acquire their freedom. And this one is a friends to lovers between one of our sex workers. They call themselves whores, and he's created a friendship with the woman that's holding him captive. Her niece kind of runs all the front facing.
I remember her.
And so I just love this. So I wanted to jump back in it.
Don't bury the lead. Tell people why they need to read this. Tell the selling point, because we're naughty girls.
Tila, the reason why they are best served as sex workers is that Tila creates a wave of incessant orgasms. So
until it's washed out.
They got magic jizz. If it's
magic
you're coming. That's what's happening.
It has to be washed away. You will continue. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, we gotta get it out.
Interesting.
Anyway, okay, go ahead, Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin from Paperbacks and Planners. I'm currently reading Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher.
Nice.
Amazing. I had no idea there was a romance in here, and it took me by surprise, and now I'm like obsessed.
Yeah,
I love when that happens.
And that's funny too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is really funny.
Yep, go ahead.
I am annotating this bad boy.
Oh boy.
Girl, yes.
The amount of notes, because I'm hosting the live show for this one, the amount of notes I've taken for this,
I know, girl.
it's insane. I'm just like, I need to know all of the things. Like, all of these, I don't know if you can see all these like purple ones. These are all like possible connections to the other
Girl,
series.
there's so
I'm like,
many.
oh, what about this? Oh, what about this? So I'm having a great time
Man.
using my In Love and Words stickers.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I want to read this. I want to read this so bad. Get thee off my lawn. I really need to read that one.
I need to read it too. I think I started it and then jumped out. I was like, wait a minute.
Of course you are.
Yes. Okay, well, speaking of Zoe Draven, I'm just about to start it. This is my Patreon book. I have been putting this book out, not purposefully, but I wanted to give it proper space. And then it got picked for my Patreon for this month. So then I had to wait again because I was like, well, I just need to wait. So I'm ready for this because I'm pretty sure it's Space Vampires, Brides of the Calora. Yeah, I mean, that is the most basic explanation. But yeah, because they survive on blood. So it's space vampires. Like, they're alien vampires. We love it. There's wings, there's muscles, there's horns. We're good. It's Zoe Draven. I'm sure there's a tail. I don't see one, but I bet there's a tail. They usually have tails. Because let's think, like, the reason why, like, I made Tiffany tell like the magic stuff, the magic jizz, is because like Zoe Draven will have these like very sexy stories, but also the emotional punch of her cannot be undersold, because you think you're getting in for this wild, like, oh, it's got this, you know, this is whatever, it's like this, and people sell the first book in the Horde Kings as like it's like Drakari fan fiction or whatever, but like the emotional punch is always so good. A lot of my favorite alien romance is that's what Tiffany Roberts does too. Like, they just made a video for their TikTok where like people always assume that because there's the spider alien in this sexy pose that it's like erotic alien stuff, and it's like, no, that's a very deep soulmate relationship through a 3-book series, right? And I think Zoe Draven does that well. Like, some of her Horde Kings are only like a 2 on my chili pepper scale, but like the emotions are so good, and I think that's important. I think it's important that we have all kinds. There's room for the alien smut right off the bat, and there's room for these like really beautiful, because then then it's like any Pride and Prejudice type thing. It's like, you are of a different species than me, even more so, you know, it's amplified, but how will we like fall in love still, you know? So, okay, I'll go through a few of these and then we'll dive in, because I do have us down to do a 40-minute sprint because I need to make some progress in this book, and we will talk at the end for probably a longer section. But let me go through some of these. Yes, you're reading balance, love it. Reading and annotating, choosing Theo, nice.
I need to read that.
Jenilyn, I almost started this yesterday, but I realized it's pretty short, so I'm saving it. That's going to be for my book club with Jackie. We're going to be reading through the alphabet challenge thing that Amazon had. It's a hard romance.
This up.
So that's the first one. Daria Vernon is so talented. Probably the best bath scene ever. All right, I'm sold. I love it.
Like a good bath scene.
Yep.
Oh, I love Blood Moon. That was fun.
Excellent. Literally right here, because I just read it. It's great.
There's a great mirror scene in that one.
Yes, that was great. It was in my voyeurism video too. Desiring his blood was worth the wait. Good to know. I'm excited about it. You're finally reading Romancing the Duke. Love it. And I've been watching this TV and Discovery Plus called We Bought a Funeral Home. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
That's super haunted.
Reading Heartless. Warda, girl, you gave it. Yes, you did. You gave it. I love it so much. We've been hounding. She just read Flawless. And you're listening to Heartless Lizelle. I saw that. I am jelly.
You have the arc. I'm so jealous.
That means it should go live pretty soon too.
Yeah, I hope
Also,
so.
Yes, Victoria, very excited. I just have to say that it's only 2 weeks until Between Wrath and Mercy will be on audio. The audio drops on January 27th, so everyone has been putting off one of my favorite books because they needed an audiobook. It is coming in 2 weeks.
I'm loving all these audiobooks.
Yes, I'm so excited. Hello, everyone.
Yes, everyone needs to read that series.
Oh, it's
Reese.
she's going to be
Enjoy.
doing a paranormal vampire book too that she couldn't stop writing, so she did.
I saw that.
Oh, okay. Yes, Carrie. Well, you'll catch up with us soon because we're going to dive into You're reading Destroy Me. Oh, Sarah, I just read that. We didn't get the arc until 2 days before it came out, so I finished it on release day though, so I was proud of myself. But Blood and Roses by Callie Hart. Oh yes, I have all the audios for those because I got them in the sale. Kingdom of Stars and Shadows. You had to cave. Yes, Warda. I know. We all have done it, literally, or like we have or we will. It's amazing.
Stolen touches.
Oh my gosh.
I was thinking of starting this soon.
Oh, I love that.
Love this series. Love it. I'm actually rereading Broken Whispers because one of my patrons, I'm having jitters because she was like, pick a random book for me. Pick anything you want. And I was like, oh,
That's hard.
I don't want to annotate what you want. So I was like, well, I'm going to pick a book that like I wanted to reread, but it wasn't in my favorites list, even though I liked it. And it's also short because I was like, I have a lot of books I have to physically read this month. So I was like, I'm going to reread Broken Whispers because that was my favorite one in the series. It was so good. So good. And when is reading Playlist. Wonderful. Hello and goodbye. Yeah. Love it. Okay.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I will pull this up because I know people's comments will keep coming, but we're going to get started. And then we'll talk at the end as well. So this, just to warn everyone, I don't have it turned up too loud, but this will make bird sounds when it ends. I like the bird sounds. I try to have it turned down, but it'll make twittery sounds when it's done. So, all right. If you haven't done this before, we mute when we go off so that we don't, those of us like me who make heavy breathing, or like Tiffany who will laugh uproariously at a part of a book. We don't scare anybody. I love you, Tiff. I love you, Tiff.
You know me.
I just know you. You're the most expressive reader that I know.
Love that.
Like, I love it. But there was a lot. We did reading sports on my channel. She just went, ah, like so loud. It scared me to death. She's like, it was so
cringed rewatching it. I'm like, this is why I love this. I'm like, oh my God.
It was so precious. It scared me. Anyway. All right, let me start this timer and we will be back in 40 minutes.
That was very pleasant sounding.
Right? I love that one. I love that one. It's not as aggressive.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not ready.
Well, I'm sure there's many reasons why, but I definitely see specifically why some people recommended this, because it's full of, it's like Scottish lore, but
Oh, really?
it's because they're berserkers, which that's a Scottish thing. And there's a city called New Inverness, which is Scottish. So I was like, I mean, obviously that's not the only reason, because I love Zoe Draven, so that's also the reason, but that made me laugh because I was like,
I see now.
yeah, there's a few layers to this. So let me go back here a little bit. Happily Ever April. I'm reading a Star Pilot's Fearless Rebel.
Sci-fi wise.
All right, I'm here for that. When Grace met the ground.
I want to read this.
Oh, I love
Devil's Captive. All right. Hi, Care.
Oh, I need to
you're
read
vigilante. Nice. That was just in my voyeurism video. No, romantic suspense. Sorry. I have two videos mixed up in my head. The one that came out today and the one I filmed today. I filmed a romantic suspense today, and that one is a lot like the Mindfuck series, if people like that. So I had two different series in that are like that. That's a good one.
Victoria,
Hello,
how are
Jenn.
you feeling? Are you loving it?
I love it. It's so good. It's such a different like romance. I've never read like a comedian romance before, and it's so good. And the heroine reminds me so much of myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm glad I'm not alone.
Isn't she relatable? She's so relatable. It's like it's too hilarious, but also like I felt like I was being read too. I was like, oh
yeah, I love
for sure.
that.
I love it.
I've only read one other female comedian, and that's a Tessa Bailey, and paired with someone else. It's a co-write, but I can't remember. Oh, Eve Dangerfield. It's Eve Dangerfield and Tessa Bailey wrote Captivated is a female comedian, and it's Australian too. So
yeah.
The Last in the Wayward Children series. How was it? I'm making my way to that one. I'm reading that right now.
It's a sci-fi that is not an
interesting.
Okay. I'm reading The Lone Wolf's Rejected Mate. Yay. Oh, I love Dara. My poor broken wolf boy. I love him so much.
I need to continue in that series.
Me too.
I've only read the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I said this in my review. I think Dara's the only wolf so far who's had like a reason to reject his mate. Like the rejected mate trope, I enjoy it quite a bit. But Dara for me was the first one that like I legitimately was like, you don't really need to grovel because it's not your fault that you did this type of scenario, where the other two, what you're there for is the grovel. Like they need to grovel for rejecting their mate, which is who else does a good grovel. So that definitely has its place. But Serpent and the Wings of Night. Yes, I need to read that. I have all of her books like on a list. I want to get to those. I need to wait for my next like fantasy mood though, because I'm a little like burned out currently. But it will come around. I always come back to fantasy. Yes.
Who's narrating that? Is it the same narrators as Flawless?
No. Everyone was.
No, she posted about it.
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. I've never heard of the guy before. The girl I recognize, but I know a lot of people.
Stephen Dexter and Vanessa Edwin.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sure I've heard him before.
Yeah. I'm sure once I hear his voice, I'll recognize it.
I will be getting into it. Willa Nash.
You're so far ahead of me. I've been so slow in reading this book.
It's a 5-star rating. Yes, Warda. Number 1 book of 2022. So good. Love it. Love it so much. Love it. Reading Restore Me. I'm I'm so happy. So many of my friends are reading this series this week. There's like 4 different people that are, and I'm so happy. I hope you loved it. Yoshimi, Hawk. I love Hawk and Kit, and that whole series is just so good. So good. Nice.
Oh, I didn't know her vigilante was short. I might have to listen tonight.
Yeah, I listened to it while I was shopping at Costco, and I got through like almost the whole thing because it was only 4 hours and 20 minutes, and on 2 times speed. Like I was almost done after.
Oh wow!
Although it was an interesting book to be listening at Costco because I mean,
it's my favorite.
You know, it was a serial killer thing and an FBI agent and all that stuff. But I like that because lately I've just been, I don't know, it's hard for me to focus on audiobooks lately, and I hate it because they're my favorite. But like after, like if I'm not actively doing something, right? Like December, I was working on my quilt the whole month, and so I just was back into audiobooks again. I binged all of the Lana Perchek, and you know, like I reread the Sons of the Survivalist, and then now when I don't have a big project, I'm like, I don't want to listen to an audiobook, and I hate it. I hate it. So I need to come up with a project. That's what it is. Like I literally had my sewing box out today, and I was like, what do I want to sew so that I can listen to stuff? I love it. I love it. First time with sprints. Yay.
Welcome.
With fantasy moments. So I switched to Serpents by Logan Fox. Love it. Love it. Trying to pick some audiobooks and ebooks for a 5-hour road trip.
Oh.
But in reality, I'll probably fall asleep. Oh, you're reading Throne of the Horde. I love it. I mean, I love that you just own it. My fave book is The Bronte by Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre by Bronte. I love it. I love the 2 names, but I don't know what to say. Okay, I'm going to bring up a tea thing. What does everybody think about the Colleen Hoover coloring book that was announced? I just want to like tea about this a little bit because I'm like,
oh, I didn't see it.
I don't. Yeah,
I just posted about it on my stories.
Yeah, is it for It Ends With Us? There's going to be a coloring book for It Ends With Us.
Apparently domestic abuse.
I know.
My thing is like, will it be quotes or something? Because I've seen one before that's just quotes.
Okay.
You know, like there'll be designs in the world. Like I have no idea. I haven't seen the inside of it. But when I saw what it was, I was like, what are you depicting?
Right. But
they turned off comments because I saw it like right when Atria first posted it. And they turned off the comments in like 30 minutes. So my comment has like 200 and some likes on it.
Yeah.
Because everyone's trying to comment and they can't anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's like too, because obviously Book Bonanza is run by her, but I also saw it reposted with that, and like people are like not liking the post. And I was like, this wasn't well thought out. And
I was like, how did it get so far? And no one was like, hey.
It's gonna sell a ton though. You know it's gonna people are gonna buy it. So they're gonna make money off of it.
They showed like on the cover, there's like a stethoscope. And I was like, isn't the abusive husband the doctor?
Yes.
And I was like, so we're gonna color in a stethoscope about the abusive husband? No. Absolutely not. Just like how to get through so many people?
Oh, that's always my question. How many yeses did it take to get to this? And it took a lot.
Yeah.
Always everyone was thinking about.
Yeah, exactly. That's really how it is.
They don't care.
Yeah.
But
that's for real. I mean,
they're gonna milk it for all it's got.
Here for the plot. That's you putting it forward that it should be for charity, right? Like they're not saying that it's for charity. No, you're saying it should be for like domestic violence charity if you're gonna do something like that. But I mean, I'm of 2 things about it, because you can write a book that is about a topic and like your proceeds don't have to go to a charity for that, right? Yeah. Like you can write about things, but why are you making something light and like that? I don't know. Like, a coloring book is different than a hard-hitting story. And I don't know. I don't have too much opinion on it because I've never opened a cover of a Colleen Hoover book, and I never plan to. So that's why like I don't have an opinion on the writing or the stories. I just know what I saw my friends saying, and I was like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
like I've read her book and I read that book and I enjoyed it and I still think it's
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
they're making light of the topic. That's what it feels like.
Mm.
Yeah.
For a buck.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You know, it's not Sarah J. Maas. Sarah J. Maas has like 2 coloring books. That makes sense. You know, like
Right.
Aragon has a coloring book. Julia Quinn, there's a coloring book for those.
Only James has a coloring book where you can like color sexy men that are protected.
Right.
You know?
Only James has that, yeah.
I mean,
And I'm like, there's so many cute books to do that with. I was like, Legends and Lattes, that would be adorable.
Oh,
This isn't it though. Go home, not it.
yeah.
No,
That is
someone
gonna be
picked a Toho book for my 12 books for 12 friends, and I'm like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why that's why I always have a veto list. Like, good for you if you read a book outside your comfort zone that you want to try, because you're like, I would like to know what people are thinking. But like, I have a no-go list for a reason. I'm like, there's certain authors I'm just never going to read. Do I think there is still good qualities to theirs that I might like about it? Yeah, but like, I still don't have to step into that if I don't want to.
Right.
You
There's so
know?
many books to read. If you don't want to read it, don't read it. I mean, like, there's plenty of other books that you can read.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually one that I do want to reread because I read it like years and years and years ago.
Mhm.
And so I'm kind of like, do I still really like the book the way I did when I was in my 20s?
Mhm.
Ooh, I don't know about that, Cynthia. I don't know things about that. I mean, I don't know about this, but I also would say, like,
I don't know.
if her son did something bad, that's not her having done it, unless you're saying that she shouldn't write a book about that because her son. I don't know what you're saying with that, but I mean, if she didn't assault someone, that's not her thing to take. That's not her crime because someone's. I don't know. That's my stance on that. I was like, everyone has a mother, and it's not every mother's fault that their child does something bad. Some mothers. Some mothers you might, but in general, it's not your fault what they do. But interesting.
someone asked. This is the Elite Protection Services coloring book.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. I see that every time I'm on her Patreon, and it makes me chuckle every time.
I'm like, I need to get this.
Just so you know. Anyway, I saw that Paco Bop, and I was like, I mean, there's even some other authors I could think of. Like I don't know. I feel like Anna Huang could have a really cool coloring book.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot, like, her characters all have lots of like varied jobs and situations. Like, that could be cool. You know, like, there's even some other contemporary authors.
Fantasy
Right,
romance.
right.
That'd be so much fun.
Paranormal.
That's a good one.
If Juliet Cross had a coloring book, just saying, Missy, hear me out, girl. Make some coloring books. But like
A Kingmaker's coloring book?
Right. Lena, hey, you know what? Anastasia basically is a coloring book. The
This is
original.
true.
Let's just say it. Let me just look up
there's so
Lena's
many
pictures,
pictures that one.
and I could color. You know, I could color this if I wanted. I would love that. But
So we driven. Yeah, all the alien romances, so good. Those would be so much fun.
So good.
Yeah. Or like Siam Costa, she could make some interesting.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
I'd
Morning
like her
glory.
with like paint by numbers. Like I want to see the cost of paint by
Renegade Romance should do like a coloring book with like all the art that they've commissioned for the thing, but just have it blank.
That would be so good.
Tiffany Roberts, oh my word, I want an enthralled coloring book. Now that's what I want. I want that. But anyway,
Just like all the best monster romance covers.
oh, yeah.
They color all of them.
I think it does exist that there's like a Regency coloring book that had like clinch covers in it. I remember coming across that at one point. Like it had like famous covers in it, but they were, you know, changed a little bit, so they weren't the actual thing.
That's
anyway, it's very
I would definitely love if Sarah Kate had a coloring book for her Salacious Players Club. I would be here for that.
See, I would just end up like coloring like Lupinus is purple or something. Like I turned
Makes sense for the alien ones.
into an alien coloring book because I am him and like blue discs. I would not be an adult about the adult coloring book.
Sparkles.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess what it comes around to is it's like you can make a coloring book out of whatever you want. I'm not seeing it with the topic of what it is.
The text was blurry? Like the printed one? Weird.
Yeah. It is on like normal paper. It's not on the bright white.
Mm.
And it could have been a misprint. I don't know.
Yeah, it could have.
I mean,
also, I don't know if I could physically hold that book for very long.
I say I won't, but I probably will physically annotate this one at some point. I also have a lot of notes that I took while I was reading it that I want to transfer into this. But, and this one is like, it's printed on very light paper because this one they printed them through the other thing. So this is not the same heaviness as like Sarah J. Maas's books even or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
read it on ebook.
I also know your hands wouldn't like holding this for a long time.
Right.
Either, but it also is made very light, so it's not as heavy as it looks. But I mean, I wouldn't want to really hold it either. But I will when I annotate it someday. So well,
I didn't even know it was that big until you posted a picture, and I was like, oh.
It really only is because of all the pictures. Like it would be like 550, 580 without all the pictures, which I mean, it's still a decent size, but it's a standalone fantasy book. It's not gonna, if it was 300 pages, we'd be. Anyway, I'm not turning this into Anastasia apologist, but it has 120 full page drawings. So there's 120 pages of pictures in it. So
yeah, and it's not heavy. It's just thick. But it's not that heavy.
And it might, I don't know. I'm just so used to holding a Kindle all the time. Like this gets heavy when I was just annotating Hydrus, which is one of the like small ones. Holding that book, trying to hold that book open to write in it, like hurts my hands when I'm trying to like annotate it because it's like, how do I hold this open and write? It's too much work. Anyway, okay, let's see anything. Fun. I was all set to buy some romance novel color covering books till I read the description and go wild with this cheesy adult coloring book. Some romance novel cover. I mean, I feel like you're still supporting I don't know. I think they're cheesy too. I mean, that's coming from a lover of. I think some covers are cheesy and I still think they're hot. I don't know. I think some cheesy things are hot. So.
Well, and then there's like campy.
Are cheesy to me, okay? Like it's cheesy to me, but I still like it. That's me.
Oh yeah,
your sparkle paint by number,
so good.
Paint by number,
yes.
Just be so relaxing and gorgeous afterwards. I could always just make one. I'm sure we could.
I'll hang it up in my living room so my dad can. Oh, that's funny. Puzzles. I know there's a place that will turn pictures into puzzles for you. Because like I do have from some book boxes, I've gotten little puzzles that were romance things in them. So I feel like it wouldn't be too hard to get that. So anyway, I think Anastasia will have its resurgence over the years. It's okay if it's not for everybody. It's okay.
Not all books are for everybody.
Yeah, there'll be an audiobook soon, and I think it will be one that comes back around through time. I think.
I haven't heard anyone not like. I think most of my friends liked it who have read it.
Well, I think some of the people who like didn't like it like just kept quieter, which is fine. Like it's fine. And also I think some people who like are seen as not liking it still gave it a 4-star, but we're just all like, we loved it. So then they don't say that they give it 4 stars because it was my top 3 books of the year. So I'm just like, it's one of the books that's very precious to my heart. So everyone can have their opinion, but I don't want to hear it, even though you're allowed to have it. I don't want to hear it.
Yes, I feel that.
I also, this is one thing I want to mention this and then I can wrap this up. So there's this thing that I noticed, a little sidetrack to get to it. I was watching a video by Daniel Green, who I've followed Daniel Green for years. And this isn't a commentary on him, but I was going to make a comment on his video, which was about audiobooks and that Brandon Sanderson is trying to give Audible some competition. So claps for Brandon for that. Yay. But I was going to make a comment, and this little window popped up that said, are you going to make a constructive comment to the conversation, or are you just going to be a troll? And I was like, is this a setting that I can enable?
I know, right?
So I looked this up. I haven't put it in yet because I want to find the right way to word it so that I'm not here to police, but I also just want to say, like, you know, are you making this comment to be like, to be in the conversation? If you honestly have a, you know, disagreement with me, like, I'm not here to shut out your opinions, but also if I gush about a book for 20 minutes and I cry about the book, please don't say you thought it was stupid or you don't agree, because I just don't need to hear that. Like, you can think that, but don't do it. And
One of my big pet peeves.
Yeah, and this is a conversation I have with fellow creators all the time, where it's like, we put our heart and soul into this, and yeah, I want to, like, I'm willing to have the discussion with people, but when people pop in and are just be like, I think this author's writing is trash, and they don't realize they're being a troll. No, and they don't realize they're being a troll, because those are the people that I want to think for a second. The people who are going to say it's trash, well, they're just going to say, yes, I do think my comment's constructive, and they're going to
right, and they're going to do it anyway. Yeah.
But I've had books where, like, I literally cried about a book for 20 minutes because I am known to do that, and someone was just like, I don't know, I don't see what's bringing up such big emotions for you. And I was like, you can F right off my channel. It doesn't matter your reason, you know, and it just got me so upset. So anyway, the point of that Daniel Green thing is that's the first time when I went to comment on a video that popped up. And I didn't know if it was something that just you get after 50K or 100K or whatever, but it is a setting. If you go into it and you go into your settings and you go into your like comment control, you can choose to have a pop-up that someone has to accept before they comment.
Interesting.
So I just wanted to share that for everyone who's a creator or a small creator, and maybe harsh comments really hurt you. I mean, they hurt all of us, but also some of us have a bit of a thicker skin at this point just because we're just like, bye to the people who do it. But that is something you can do for yourself, and just kind of, just because, again, some people might not even think. They might be like, wow, why are you getting so emotional? And then me as the person is, I'm like, because that's really close to my heart, and now you're making me feel like shit, and that's unnecessary. So it's just the thing of like, and also for other viewers, like, that's kind of how I want it to be, is that I put out kinky video recs, taboo recs, you know, oddly specific recs. And I had someone comment on one and said, like, literally was like, ew, I don't think that kink is for me. And I was like, you're literally watching a kink video, my loves. If you don't like what I'm recommending because it's not for you, like, that's okay. It's literally an oddly specific review. You don't want to read about pegging? Cool. But please don't say ew in the comments in my section. So that's kind of where I want it to be, is it's like, is this comment you're going to say, like, add to the conversation? Like, do you honestly want to talk about it? Or are you trying to kink shame with a comment? Because you saying, ew, this isn't for me, is kink shame. Tiffany and I just had a discussion yesterday about some kinks that we think are ew, but I will never say that on my channel or tell the person that it's ew, because you can love what you love. I just don't have to read it.
Or like certain elements of a kink that I enjoy, and, you know, where an author could take it, you know, what I find to be hot, and when, like, so yeah, but I would never shame anybody before being into that, you know?
That's why it's always, for me, it's always like, that's not for me. Might be for you, not for me.
Like,
that's totally
I feel
fine.
like even when I'm talking about how much I didn't like a book, at the end I'm always like, it just wasn't for me.
Right.
Like,
Because it's true. It might be someone's favorite book. But I think there's a difference when you're like gushing out about a book, and then someone goes in the comments and they're just like, that book was horrible. That book sucked. That was the worst book I ever read. It's like, why are you coming here to say that? Like, I'm not going to agree with you, obviously. Go to someone else who hates it. Sure, there's plenty of people who hate it too.
Yeah, you're going to get more likes and engagement on that.
Right. Like, you're not going to change my mind unless the author, unless something's problematic, then yes, absolutely tell me. But yeah.
I think there might be something like that on Instagram too, because I've noticed that there's like little messages in the like DMs that's like, hey, like, I follow these guidelines, and so I am wondering how to turn that on, because I've only seen it on a few.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting. No, yeah, and this one is one where you can personalize it, which is what I like.
Okay.
So, like, make it sound like you. Thing I think that will show up that is like, you know, are you sticking to community guidelines with your comment? But like that is obviously from YouTube where it says it, but you can choose to put it in your words, which is what I liked about Daniel, because it was in his words. He's like, are you going to be a troll or are you here to talk? Because if you're here to talk, it's your comment. Like that's what it said. And so you can personalize it to you, which that's exactly what I want to do. I just don't know how I want to word it yet, but you know, like Crystal said it in her favorites video, which is, it's what I love to hear, where she's like, this is all my favorites. So if you don't like any of these favorites, I don't want to hear it. Like, these are the books that made me cry, made me emotional. If you don't like one of these, your comment isn't necessary. You can just leave me a little heart and keep it to yourself. Like, go to someone else's video who didn't like it, because there's going to be people who didn't like it. And yeah, and then, I mean, of course, she's the crystal eloquence that she is. Whereas I was like, girl, that's how I feel all the time. And I say things kind of like that, because when I do my taboo books, I'm like, nobody's going to kink shame here. If you even try, it's gone. Because I had someone do that for one of my BDSM ones, where like, this is dangerous. And I'm like, bye. You don't need to say that here. This is fictional. No one, like, sure, it's dangerous if it's not done right, but it's none of your business, you know?
There's literally notes at the beginning of the book telling you it's not a manual.
Yeah. And I should be more cutthroat, because I'm like, well, let's have a conversation. What should, you know, like I'm extra and like analytical, and I'll like bait in that way because I like conversation, but it's like, that's not the place to do it. In the comment section when it's negative. And I agree here for the plot. I think there's a way to like constructively talk about something that's not working. Like for me, if something doesn't work for me in a book, I like to, and that's the fun of it, because I think the more that I read, the more I start to understand what I enjoy. You kind of have to read to figure that out. And so I find incredible joy in figuring out what didn't work and being able to like pinpoint why it may not work for me in the future. And then I'm just like picking fire books. Sometimes I'll hit, you know, they can't all be 5 stars, but like there's a constructive way to talk about a book. And then it's just like hurtful. Like I never want to like just cut someone's work down. So I absolutely agree with you on that comment.
Yeah, I try to keep it very few and far between. Like,
which is why I'll DNF. You know what I mean? It's like, then I don't have to talk about it.
And I think none of us here, at least like, you know, I don't think many of us hate read books. Like we want to read books we actually like. I know there are certain people who do, and that's their thing. And I know they get a lot of views, but I don't hate read books. Like I will DNF a book if I don't like it that much.
Right.
Yeah.
Usually if I talk about not liking a book, I'm going to be very specific about what it is I don't like. Right. Then it's actually helpful. So it's like, if you're like, no, I love that, then you know to go book.
Like, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's
cutting it
that's a conversation I had with Crystal really recently that I love that she said, because she's like, if I'm going to say I don't like it, I want to be intentional, like you said, Robin, because you know, for me, I do that sometimes. And those are the ones that kind of end up being rants, because I'll be like, this really offended me, so here's my personal take. But the ones where I'm kind of just like, this was a 3-star, like you'll see in my weekly wrap-ups, I'm like, this was fine. There was nothing offensive about it. There was nothing great about it to me. It was 3 stars. Moving on. You know, because then it's like, I don't have an opinion either way. Like I probably won't be like recommending this, but I'm not like, you should stay away from this book. You know, those are 2 different things. So,
well, and like it's like listen to 1-star reviews, and someone was like, "This was just aliens having sex," and I was like, "Cool, I want to read it." Like,
well, it's like my favorite book.
What's up, Melissa?
Oh, my internet is terrible. My favorite book from last year was on someone's like worst books of the year, and I'm like, well, I mean, I could see that. I could see your problems with it, but I loved it.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and I think it's different too in the creator chair a lot, because we're used to people not liking our favorite books. I don't know. Like I mean, and I don't have the same taste as everybody. Like we have the taste of romance, but we don't have the same taste. That's why there's always room for everybody. And so when people are nervous to start a channel, I'm like, no, your opinion is valid. Your voice is needed. but like I don't usually have the same opinion as this creator or this creator or this creator. It's why I was scared to read Flawless and Heartless, because I was like, there's no way that I can like the book that all these people like. Like I won't. You know, you're very much like, I won't. So then I get nervous to read it. And then I'm like, nope, everyone was right. Everyone was right. But then the next book comes along that everyone likes. I'm like, I didn't like it. Yep, now I'm back by myself again.
That's why I like book club though too. Because what I love about a book club, especially book clubs on books that I love, I want to hear how other people saw it. Even if you loved it too, like I love the discussion section, like comments and the discussion in book clubs, because I get to see like, I see the book in a completely different way because of somebody else's commentary. And I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Like when we did like, what was it, Annie's Song, when you guys picked that for Appreciation. Like I've read that book 3 times now, but just to like revisit it and see other people's comments and like how you know, you pick something up a year from now, you're changed, so the page changes. So I like when like I might have a favorite and a friend of mine didn't find it to be a favorite, and then we can talk about why. I feel like that's when I grow. Like,
that
I
was
so much from Crystal.
Crystal gave it 2 stars, and it was a 6-star read of 2020 for me. 2021.
Yeah. See, wait, for me, I love.
I didn't give it a 6-star the next time I reread it, so it was interesting. Go ahead, Bree.
That makes a difference. I was just saying, I like hearing other people's thoughts for the same reason. But I also will purposely avoid certain reviews of certain books because they're so close to me. And I talked to you about this, Jen. Like I won't watch any of the Akamath like conversation. I don't want to hear what because I know that it's not perfect, but it's a comfort for us. So I don't want to see those things that you're seeing in it, because it's like I hold it in a very special place.
Yeah. Well, and the trash reviews just get the clicks because people want to know why people like it and they want something to hate on it. Like there's the people who do the like, I read all of Sarah J. Maas, so you don't have to, and they get millions of views. Whereas like I made a deep dive review of both ACOTAR and Akamath, and like nobody cares, even though I put in so much work to those, and it's why I never like finished making those. Granted, like my channel had like 4,000 when I made those, but still, like I put hours into each of those videos where I'm talking about the things that make this a literary, like well done thing, and people just want to be like, it's fairy smut, and I'm like, people, you don't know what smut is. One
right
for fairy peen.
Like I got some fairy smut for you.
Oh my god. Yes, it's smut, my dear. Pride and Prejudice, but it is not smut. Anyway, I had to say that. I had to do it because I'm like, the more that I'm reading her books and doing this read along, I think she's fucking brilliant. And like, people don't have to agree, but also don't act like it's trash. Like, it's not trash just because it didn't work for you. Like, whatever. Anyway. There was a lot of thought into it.
Outlander. See, we have our coveted faves. You can't say anything about them. Please don't.
I'm like, nobody talk. I don't want to, like, you can hate it, and I get it. I understand why people hate it, but I don't want to hear about why you hated it, because then I'll see that and it'll ruin it for me.
I've definitely even had like times where I'm like, I'm gonna rant about this book for a minute. You can skip ahead if you want.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes like, I know not everyone wants to hear this. Like, that's okay.
I should start giving those ones because I can talk about a book. Especially if I love it. I mean, it just like it encapsulates a certain time in my life, how it moved me. It's so personal.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
All of our opinions sometimes are personal. How you analyze and see a book and your take on it is actually like really personal. So it's a little really nice.
And it's also part of it is that I do have, like, I've grown and changed a lot, but I do have a bit of a combative personality. I like to debate. I like to do that. And some of my friends will feel like I'm trying to change their mind when I want to like debate a book together. Whereas I'm like, no, I love that you have a different opinion, but like, this is how I feel or whatever. And they'll be like, you're trying to change my mind. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't want to talk about it. So I've learned to like step back from that. But when people bring up Outlander or The Takeover, or I'm sure it will be Heartless eventually, like I will go down with you. Like I will throw down with you because I think they are perfect. That is a subjective term to me, but also like don't come at me with criticisms of them if you're not going to back it up and explain yourself, because I'm going to bullet point you wrong if you're going to do it.
But also, I mean, like sometimes you can't even explain it. Just didn't work. Like maybe it just you didn't like it. Maybe you don't have specific reasons why you just didn't like it. And that's the thing about books. That's why it's hard to debate.
Right. And I think that's kind of like what Robin has brought up. And that's what like Crystal wants to be better about, that she shared, is that if she's going to say that as a reviewer, she wants to be able to explain it. Otherwise, she won't talk about it at all, you know, because I think as a reviewer, we do need to try to explain it. If we're just reading it and don't like it, then whatever, you don't like it, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it's time. Like for me, sometimes it's timing. Like sometimes I'm just not in the mood for that, or something's going on in my life or whatever, and then I'll read it at another time and love it. But I can differentiate that and like say that. Like could have just been timing. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. As a person watching YouTube, sometimes I've noticed like if the person in the video doesn't say like, hey, you can skip ahead, I think sometimes they don't even think like, I don't have to sit and listen to this, which is why I started saying like, you can skip ahead. Control.
I know not everyone does it. Like I always list the books I'm going to talk about in my weekly wrap up.
Yeah.
So if you see it, you don't want to listen. Like I'm not forcing you to be here.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can keep going. Like I'm not forcing you to hear things that you don't want to hear.
Exactly.
Or you're not helping it.
I think that is so smart. Like you don't have to sit here for 5 minutes while I talk about one word in this quote and what it
exactly. It's like y'all really made it 20 minutes into my video, and now you're gonna complain. Just click away. You don't have to be here.
Yeah. I mean, that's great, Nikki. I'm glad that they go off your shoulder. I think that's though like why I try to stay away from the negative comments too. Like there's like, it's part of the reason I don't watch a lot of the videos where I know my friend didn't like the book. Like I will look on Goodreads and see, they gave this a 3-star. I'm probably not going to want to hear their thoughts on it. Or, they gave it a 2 stars. Well, I'm ready for a rant today. Let me go get I'm ready for it. You know, like, because when I'm in the mood for it, I can. And then there's some that, like, I give books 5 stars sometimes because they're crazy. It's why I had to create a 6-star book for me, because I read Games with the Orc. I don't think that's a perfect book. I don't think that is like all these things, but I had a great time reading it and it gave me all the feels or whatever. There are some objective flaws I can see. There are some subjective flaws I see. But when I was done, I was like, that reading experience was 5 stars. It's a 5-star book. I have no desire to nitpick. If I end up nitpicking a book, it's because I probably was bored during some point, or like I had to finish it for some reason. Like this last year, I had more of those than normal because I had Patreon books that I had to read. And so if I have to finish this book, then the nitpicks come out, and I'm just a nitpicker. I'm not gonna do it. But I will often give a book 5 stars, and that's when I'm like, I can't tell you why it was 5 stars. But it was. So one of my friends will be like, this was 3.5, 3 stars. And I was like, yeah, but my reading experience was a 5.
Exactly. I emotionally rate books. And as far as this, like there's books I love, and the comments, like, I don't care if people don't like it, but then there's books I love and I can't, it's like, it's different.
Yeah, it's true. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Good choice. Takeover is wonderful. Yeah, on this channel, we don't disparage the Takeover. You can do it on someone else's channel. It's totally fine. We don't disparage the Outlander or Takeover or Sophie Lark. We don't disparage those here. The criticisms are valid and they're allowed, but not on the Book Refuge. It is a refuge of safety for Jenn's 6-star books. Go to Chandler Ainsley if you want to hate on those books. Go on over there. You'll have a great time. She is sassy as hell and absolutely fantastic. You are just desensitized. Well, that's great. I can only hope to get there someday, but also then my channel would be kind of boring because, you know, that's the thing. We also have to be careful on our channel is like we have our space where we get to have those opinions, and hopefully your friends and viewers like know you and you've created that. You know, what I think it's hard is people who find you for the first time on one of your rant videos, because those are the ones that sometimes YouTube will promote, and then you get random people at you. You know, or the ones I've made for really big, but like that's the thing. Like my Outlander videos, God, I can't even look at them because I was 80 pounds heavier in those videos, and it's hard to do them. But I have people watch them every day, and people who discover the series and watch all of mine and go to comment on those. And those are the ones that get promoted to people whenever a new season is coming out. They get kicked out to people. And so then sometimes people comment on something and you're like, that was 4 years ago. I don't even know what I said.
Right.
So, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember. So, that's the thing with the channel. But anyway, well, this was amazing. Thank you for everyone for hanging out with me. I love you too, Candace. You're amazing. Mel. Knows my book. Yes, I'm an emotional reader. 100%.
Me too.
If I start analyzing it, it's because I'm bored.
Right. That's true.
Or if it's one I'm reading for the 6th or 7th time and I'm trying to analyze it. Like if I'm analyzing, I'm bored. So probably a 3 or 4 star for me.
I do analyze, but it's like it makes the process slower because I'm like, ooh, she's hitting me. Ooh, she's slicing me. And it's like, Tiffany, let's get to the next chapter and then think of it.
It's real scary. At least those Outlander videos, man, I made those so long ago. You have the memory of a goldfish. I'll have people comment on those videos because they're like, oh, you made such a good point about blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I did? Oh, I'm so glad.
What did I say?
There's one lady who I can tell that she's reading Outlander because as she finishes each one, she watches it, which warms my heart because that's why I created those. Like, that's why I did that, is so people could come to them. But I'm like, I don't know what I said anymore. And I don't want to watch them again because I don't want to look at myself back then. But that's good stuff. But anyway, all right. Well, we'll wrap this up. Thank you, everyone. Next week, do we know whose channel this is on? It's on Melissa's. Melissa is doing it next week, same time, I believe. And we're so glad. Thank you for so many people who joined and had a good time with us tonight. So have a great evening, everyone.
Bye.